What up, Devil? Sensei Tutum here with another video for you. So, keeping up with this Tutum Thursday, I'm just going to kind of pick what I want to do. Not going to stick with anything. But this week, what I want to do is I want to look at some, we'll call them shit coins. And I say that affectionately. I don't mean that in any derogatory type of way towards your project. Just coins that I haven't looked at in probably a couple years. Outside of, and honestly, recently, outside of ETH and Bitcoin, I haven't looked at anything else. Though, fairly recently, I've been trading some EOS, trading some Litecoin. But outside of those, I just haven't, because there haven't been, and they haven't looked good. There hasn't been a reason to. Let's put it that way. Because of course you've had all the wicks and craziness and altcoins that you expect, but you haven't had the big moves until recently that make it worth the hassle. But one piece of advice I always give to members, and I won't name any names, but a guy said this just yesterday. I've been super profitable for the last 2 months, and in the last 2 weeks, and this is actually just a social member, so clearly he's not necessarily trading the way that we would teach. But in the last 2 weeks, I just really lost bad. And, I said, well, what are you trading? And he told me. So I pulled up his chart, and I showed the previous 2 months, which was really, off the March low, to the last couple weeks, which has been sideways crap. So why do you think you lost? It's not, maybe it's not what you're doing. Not that I have any idea what he's doing. He didn't mention that. But maybe it's the chart. Maybe you should move on to another chart. Personally, I've taken one Bitcoin trade this week, and it was a small stop in profit, and it wasn't because it was some great obvious setup. This was, I would say, definitely lower level. Probably wouldn't want to be in here, though. Those guys take more trades than anybody. But it was just an obvious sort of entry exit. Entered. That was right before we had that dilly up. It was a long. So I immediately moved, and it popped over some support and things like that. Immediately moved my stop just under the support that it popped over. And because it was unclear, it was just, sort of an obvious entry. So I took it, and then I, guaranteed a little bit of profit, locked it in. And of course it wicked out below that support. And then as you saw the wicks this week doing what it does, and I'm not chasing it. I didn't re-enter. I haven't looked at it today. It might have mooned overnight, but it was just grinding. And, that's not the way I personally trade. Anyway, Bitcoin's not been very interesting. But, in that regard, I'm not a day trader. I'm a swing trader. I have a full-time job. I have a family. Not to mention I have my second job, which is Trade Devils, where, just because I'm talking about TA and charts and trading doesn't mean it takes away from my own potential time for it. So I don't put on a ton of trades, but I've put on like 5 trades this week in traditional markets, FX, stocks, and it's only Thursday, and that could go up, and that's a high number for me. So I'm just saying, basically, other markets move, and I bet a lot of you guys haven't been looking at shit coins, but maybe it's time. So long-winded intro. Let's get into it. So a little bit of Cardano action. Let's see what it's done off the COVID low. 377%. Yeah, I think it's worth looking at right now. And I just basically, when I first look at a chart, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some horizontal resistances, which, this only goes back to 2018. Maybe that is when it released. I thought it released in 17. I guess not. I don't know if this is the entire price history. You never know with altcoins. They get listed, delisted. I'm just kind of sticking with Binance because that's sort of the shitcoin king. Yeah, so we got some horizontal resistances. We've got our VPVR. This is the point of control down here, which we're well above. But we've broken on the bullish daily Vegas. We're above. We broke above. We rested and consolidated just above and have launched off of. So the very, very bullish sign. This horizontal resistance line is, to me, it's just below this high volume node. However, so you could probably draw this as a range between the literal price line on the very high volume node, which is going to offer resistance, and where I have drawn the dotted line, just based on pivots. These are things that you look for in horizontal resistances, reactions of price in the past. And obviously, I'm here, but as you see on the price line, we have that pivot there as well. This pivots on both. It really could just be a range a lot of the times, and I would say it would be a nice little range between price and this line I drew. So we're at a big point of resistance. But what has brought us there? We have another major pivot line here. This one just fell just below. Let me just move this down here. Let me fatten it up. Not that it's more important or anything. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. Keep it how I always do it. Anyway, but once you get above this, it's you've got some stuff here, but the resistance goes way down, and you've broken. And this is in a low volume node, which typically they act as support and resistance, or you just knife directly through them. So think of it as sort of the chart is open space. The volume nodes, this is potentially, let's say, matter within, and these are areas of non-matter that, price pops its head through the vapor barrier of, accepted price into nothingness, and it either gets scared and runs the other way, or it just runs right through the room, kind of thing. That is a horrible analogy, but that's what you get with Tutum Thursday. Anyway, yeah, so that's, I don't know if anybody understood that, but I'm not going to try to explain VPVR anymore today. So then you start throwing counts on it, and I'm not, typically I'm not going to dive in and look at all the subwaves of the fifth of the fifth of the fifth of the third of the second of the fourth of the third. Don't care about that. I'm looking at trading degree, one above, one below, maybe two above, two below, depending on the situation. And that's all I really care about. I'm trying to identify patterns because remember, being a completely fractal market, we can do that. We can go down to the 1 second, but at some point you have to accept that this is made up of all kinds of an infinite number of different patterns. But at the end of the day, I think we can say this is a motive. This is a corrective. This is a motive. This is a corrective, motive, corrective, motive. Right? So how would we label something like that? And, we'll just go ahead and label it. And really, I could have drawn it more like this. Because, no matter how complex it is or any of that crap, at the end of the day, it's motive or it's corrective. People try to complicate this shit so much, and then they blame Elliott Wave for their problems. Because you're doing it wrong. Come to TDU, and I will teach you the right way to do it. I promise you that, and make it profitable. So anyway, for you, I should say. But it's a 3-wave, right? So what do we have after 3? Well, you would probably expect you could get another 3-wave up, or you might expect to get a 5-wave off of it, right? So, and this is, I'm going to save a little bit of time. This is sort of the story that we're going to see on all of these charts. We're just going to have to see and look at which one's more interesting. But, I can't get through a video without talking about, I don't know, doing my thing. But we'll stick to it on this chart and do it quickly on the others. But yeah, so we could potentially expect something like that. Which, if we look here, you see I've drawn 5 swings. Now, nothing's been external. This could easily still be a single wave in progress, or it could be 5 swings completed. You never know. Remember, if you're going to extend, you're going to extend in fours. So we've got 5 plus 4 would be 9. Plus 4 would be 13, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Same thing for 3s, plus 4, 7, so on and so forth. But we've got a 5, what we'll say a 5 swing here. We're coming into a point of resistance, not coming into, we have hit a point of resistance, but volume is really getting it. And we'll stay on the daily, but zoom in. Get rid of this. I'm not entirely convinced. Now, let's just go ahead and, this is where we'll start to check the lower degree counts. So I don't know what the hell's going on here. We'll take dominant pivots. 3 is shorter than 1. Now, the question is, 5 is longer. So this can in fact not be a finished impulse. So it could still be, this do have some fuckery in here. It could be 1, 2, 3. I mean, it could be an unlimited number of things, but if we're talking probabilistically using Elliott Wave, I think that this could damn well, and not to mention, you know, just looking at it how I had drawn it before, I was like, if that's an extended fifth, we sure haven't like reacted the way you would expect. Volume is increasing, which you would expect to see on an extended fifth, but we have not dumped. And really, it's even if it were an extended fifth, it wouldn't be nearly the length you would expect. So I think what we've had is a potential, you know, I'm not counting all this right now. We're going to go on dominant swings and potentially look at it closer. Take that over here. Oops. We're going to go up to minor. Get rid of that. Make this so you can see it better. We're just going to go dominant swings. 1, 2, 1, 2, potentially, right? Two. Put that there. That there. This here. Now, I'm not necessarily all. Oops. That's funny. Why is. God, TV, what the hell? Why is the lower degree bigger than the larger degree? Whatever. This is a new change. Anyway, I don't like that. Okay, so we're getting a little deep on that. So to me, we'll stop here with this one. To me, I'm thinking that could be a 1-2, 1-2. We'll have to like really look closer to sort of determine that. But from afar, it's very bullish, and it could be still quite some room to go. And even though, you know, even though we are at a point of resistance here, actually consolidating above, we do have this pivot, not too much further up, but blue sky from there. So not looking bad. Candidate for the deeper look. Now this one I've already drawn. Well, like I said, we'll go through these quicker. What do you see here? Basically, we got our point of control here on the VPVR. You've got you can check your low volume nodes on either side. These unsurprisingly, we actually had a low volume node here, but then the high volume node at the low of that is where sort of the range started. We've wicked through, but you know, a couple times, but it's not what we're worried about. I know that I've had former students say, well, you know, if you break through and come back on the other side, then that isn't acting as resistance. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Or you know better than everybody else, I guess. But in any event, price is at a very important level already. There's the price line. Here's an important level line. Another one above, and of course, then it's blue freaking skies from there. So again, if you were throwing Elliott wave count on this, like, you could potentially just do that. But again, it's a 3. It's corrective, right? Now, of course, that can go on much further, but at this point, no reason not to think we wouldn't get an impulse here. So do we have one in play? Let's see. Turn that off. Just working on dominant swings. I would say we're going to have to be careful just because, this is V-chain, by the way. And if we look at V-chain off the low from March, we're up 555%-ish. So even better than Cardano. But one thing of concern here is we potentially have a finished zigzag channel. So, you know, I hate to say it, this doesn't look like we're having anything setting up immediately. Of course, we could short here, right? But I think, yeah, it's up over 500% in the last couple months. You gonna short that? Trade the trend. Stop trying to be smarter than everyone else. Trade the trend. But we would expect to potentially pivot here, whether it be to consolidate for a 2 of a 3 and break out on the 3 of the 3, which is what you expect in these situations. I don't know. Anyway, no trade right here, but this is, you know, to me, a clear potential 3-wave here. Very bullish looking still, even though we've come up into the air. The slope of this wave is still, you know, does have me feeling bullish. We're above the daily Vegas. You know, could be a retrace. Very worth playing. See how it comes down. Let's jump over to DigiByte. I love DigiByte. Same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You could just draw it this way. Why not? It's corrective. All correctives are families, members of the threes, even triangles. We call them threes. Now this one actually has a case for a completed impulse off the low. We're at this point, you know, pivot, price pivot, price pivot, price pivot, price pivot, price pivot, dives when it goes through it, and then, you know, again, it's acting as an important level in the market. We've hit it. You can make a case here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are external. Let's see. We haven't broken this yet. So, I mean, it could still be this could be a 4 wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This could still very easily be a 4. It does look like a sideways style of correction. Yeah, this is one to look at. This, you can make a case for 5 in, or maybe just 3 and the 5th to go. Trading for 5th isn't my favorite, but again, above the daily Vegas, above the point of control, below this resistance level, which isn't the best, although we're testing it, right? Volume is down on this, so it seems corrective here. Seems like a sideways style. It could very well be a 4, maybe a candidate for a deep dive, but again, not the super high quality trade that I'd be looking for. This could even already be the start of the 5th up. Who knows, potentially, but not bad looking. We diverged to there. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'm feeling 3 wave. This might be the lead in the clubhouse for the deeper look. And then we have ZIL, which I think that this may be actually when it hit the market. I remember it was a little bit later after the alt boom, and then it went up while the rest of the market kind of went down. And we see what it did after. Shocker, right under this super low volume node, holding above this area, which is, you know, I would say should now be an area of support. Hey, I don't know what happened to my backgrounds. Let me just do this. Anyway, that looks awful, but I've never had to set that in a long time. So yeah, we're above. I mean, it's dillying still as we speak. I honestly, there was only, to me, this is still a 3rd wave in progress. So, you know, if you like 5ths, you can wait for it to come back. But I mean, it's not even done yet. It could end there. What are we seeing here? We're starting to see divergence. Yeah, it could potentially be done. This might be a candidate for a longer look. We're probably in between here. Yeah, 2618 is right up here. So we might break through, wick down, come back. I'd say this little run is probably getting close to over, but you never know with altcoins. But yeah, maybe up to this level, bounce down. So which one do we look at for a closer look? Try to see if we have algos in play and things like that. Can't do a live poll. Maybe I should have made this a live stream. 12.99 off the low. Percentage wise, 678. I'm sorry. 764%. A measly 764% off the low for DigiByte. 1,200% for ZIL. Let's go with ZIL. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do the deep dive on ZIL. That'll be up in the Discord for all members, including free. Go ahead, sign up on TradeDevils.com and come check the video out. I mean, there's going to be obvious trade opportunities throughout to both sides, depending on what kind of trader you are, and we'll look at them. All right, boys, toot out.